Hey guys, what's going on? So I want to show you something that is really awesome. So I'm actually right outside the venue for the new Bosch product launch. And while I was there, they were talking about, some of their past models and some of their innovations and stuff like that. And one thing they were talking about in some detail was their anti-lock brake system, their ABS. And it's something that we don't have in America. In America, there is, unless you find a prototype from Bosch itself, you're not going to find one. They don't have it on bicycles there. They do have them on bicycles here in Germany, but they were talking about it just because it's a newer innovation. But anyways, I want to show it to you because I'm actually like super impressed by this system. I mean, it was probably a year ago or so. I saw the video where Bosch was announcing some of their newer stuff, and they were talking about the ABS system. They said they're going to put it on some rental bikes and maybe some fleets and kind of test it out to see how it does. And I first saw it and I was like, what? An anti-lock brake system on a bike? Why? Like, I didn't, and they showed the thing on the video, and I thought, oh, like, what is that thing on there and all of that. I was very skeptical. Sum it up, I'll say I was very skeptical. And I just kind of put that on the back burner and never thought about it because it never got to America. But I tried it out and I am very impressed. I am blown away by, blown away is pretty, a pretty extreme word to use, but I'm very impressed, to say the least. I think that this is a great innovation, a really big innovation. Let me show you all about it. So here we got just a Bosch Ebike. Nothing terribly special about this. It has kind of like the standard performance line motor, 500 power pack, on a city bike. I'm very familiar with this setup here. I ride a bike like this all the time, thousands of miles and everything, so I'm very comfortable on it. The cool thing is that, it's using the newer kiosk display from Bosch, which is kind of neat, but you'll notice a few other things on the brakes. So it's using a Magura hydraulic disc brake system, and I think that's specific. They have to use this braking system. They can't put it on V brakes or like a mechanical brake or anything like that. And I totally get it because it's meant to have good brakes, so start with a good set of brakes. And these are good brakes. They work just fine whether the bike is turned on or turned off. But they started with a good set of brakes, and inside this little reservoir, which is just normal, it actually comes into this unit on the front of the bike. So this is what I was talking about when I said I saw the unit and I was like, ugh, what is that? Why did they do that? I don't really know a whole lot about braking systems still, but this is pretty cool because the line from the right brake, or I guess, sorry, the front brake on the left side, it's just the front brake that they're regulating in this case. So the line comes into this unit, which has, I wanted them to open it up, but they said they didn't have one here. I guess it's not really the star of the show in particular today. But inside of this unit, there is actually a little hydraulic system in here, kind of imagine a smaller version of a hydraulic suspension, kind of compact and put into there. Also, there is a control board, like an electronic control unit, and some magnet decoupling in there. So more or less what this is doing inside of here is when you smash on the front brake, it's actually taking this and coming into the unit here, and then this has an internal system which decouples the brake on very precise measurements, and that information is coming down the line here into the brakes. So of course this is an output for the brakes to actually brake, but it's also sending a signal up. You'll notice on this brake disc here, on this brake disc, this is just a normal disc on that side. On the other side, this is what they call a tone wheel, and that's tone as in like a musical tone. So this tone wheel here is actually reading the wheel speed. That's more or less its main function, is to read the wheel speed, and it has all these tiny little cuts inside of the metal here, and that information is going into this little small caliper, not like the disc caliper, because this is your regular quad piston disc caliper for brakes, but it's going into this system that's reading that. And this, because it has so many tiny little holes in it, it can read the wheel speed once it passes 3 holes, which is about 10 degrees worth of rotation. And it's taking this information and it's going back into the control unit. So that way, when you give the input of smashing on the brakes, and that's really what it's for, and I'll show you when we get to the ride portion, when you smash on the brakes and squeeze those really hard, it's taking this one bit of information, comparing it with that bit of information, and then it is kind of doling out the braking power just spec by spec, the way that you would in a car. If you've ever ridden in a car with ABS and you get to an icy spot, or maybe you're doing donuts in the snow, or maybe in a hydroplane or something, it kind of brakes a little bit. You smash on the brakes with your foot, and then it stops the braking motion in small little segments. That's exactly what this feels like. It's more or less an ABS system for your bicycle. Yeah, it's it's great. Let me show you one other thing. So when you smash on the brakes, and you'll kind of see that when I ride here in the gravel a little bit. I'll try to illustrate it. When you smash on the brakes and you're in a place like in this gravelly area, you tend to lose control and want to like turn the handlebars. So you turn the handlebars to kind of get your footing a little bit, and then that's how you normally would balance the braking power that's pretty strong on the front wheel. With this system, it prevents that, but it also has a measurement for lift. And it's a rather interesting way that they measure the lift from the back wheel, because if you smash on the front brake, that's a pretty big risk. If you do so, is that the back wheel will lift up, the rider weight will cross over the handlebars, and then you'll tumble over. If that's ever happened to you, it's scary. But it actually does that in a very simple way. So in the front of the bike, they have this little guy, the tone wheel, that's reading the speed. They have a duplicate in the back wheel. So in the back wheel, they have this that is reading the wheel rotation of the back wheel. Same sort of system where it's reading those 3 notches within 10 degrees of an actual rotation for the back wheel. And it's actually not doing that for the drive unit. The drive unit has its own rotation counter, and that one is right here. So this is reading the rotation counter of the back wheel for speed on the drive unit. I mean, they do that all the time. You've seen that for years. This is the new one. And they say that that's enough information to measure whether the bike is lifting, because if the bike is lifting, whether you're on the brakes or not, the rotations of the back wheel are going to be different. It might be too fast because the rider still has momentum from pedaling, and therefore the back wheel is spinning faster. It might be slower because they're smashing on the brakes and the front wheel has momentum to overcome before it actually comes to a stop, and the back wheel doesn't. So the back wheel might be stuck, frozen from the braking if you smash on both brakes at the same time. So the variance between the front wheel and the back wheel is enough within 10 degrees of a rotation to read if there's lift on the back wheel, and therefore it adjusts the braking power of the front so that the brakes don't go so fast, so that the rider can kind of let gravity use their weight to put the bicycle down in the first place. And anyways, that's all the theory of it. Like, that's like the parts and kind of like what they do. But I have to say that the application is good. Like, I like this application a lot. I told you before I was kind of skeptical when I first heard about it, but I gotta say that it works. I mean, I haven't tried it for miles and miles quite yet, but the tests that I did do with it were very impressive. So the first thing I did was I took this bike and I went up a small hill, and then I turned around and I came back down. And when I came back down, I was going about 25 miles an hour, and I smashed on the front brake and it felt normal. It felt like I was just normally braking on a regular flat area. And it wasn't all that impressive. I was like, okay, because I haven't done a whole lot of street riding in the last, few weeks or so. And then I did it again. I went up to the top of the hill, came back down, smashed on the brake, and it felt comfortable. It felt good, And then I tried it another time. I went up to the top of the hill the third time. This time I turned the bike off completely, which also turns off the ABS system. So the way they have it configured now, by the way, is when you turn the bicycle on, the ABS system comes on, and that's it. Anyways, got up to the top of the hill, turned the bike off, and just went down. And then this time when I smashed on the front brake, you better believe it started to lift a little bit, and I started to adjust my own weight. I had to, kind of let off on the brake manually, because I'm kind of trained to do that after bike riding for so long. And it was a little scary. It was a little bit intimidating, like, whoo. And that was pretty cool. That was amazing. So I had to go back up a fourth time and test it out with the ABS system. And again, it was very comfortable. And I no holds barred kind of thing. I smashed on that front brake as hard as I could, and the braking power was very even going down the hill. I'll show you. I tried it again in gravel. So I was actually in this little area here that you see behind me, and this time I turned the bike off. I started with it off, and I started braking around on the gravel area. This time when I was braking with the ABS turned off, I was like turning and trying to adjust to find my balance and everything like normal. Like this is a normal thing for me to have to adjust. I have to manipulate my own riding to accommodate the brakes. I tried it again, this time smashing on the front brake full bore, and by golly, it was great. I was just braking as straight as an arrow. It was awesome. It was really good. There's only one thing I haven't tried, and that's starting on pavement. So you start the braking motion on pavement and then wind up in the gravel and then keep your brakes smashed the whole time. You'll actually see that test live when I jump on the camera, because this has been like a lot of detail about the system, but I just want to show you because, like I said, I'm very impressed by this, very impressed. So let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so I got you set up on the helmet cam right on the chin area there, so hopefully you can hear me when I put the helmet on. There's one last thing I wanted to show you, and that's actually the handlebar indicator. So here in Germany, they kind of modeled it after automotive applications. So right here you have this big indicator right there. I mean, this is big. This is like the size of the bell, more or less. This indicator lights up and shows you the icon that you see from like a car when you turn on your car, and kind of flashes all the lights like battery, ABS, and the other stuff. This one actually has just its own little unit only to show you that information. Once you actually start using the bike, like pedaling it around, that little indicator turns off. So it's not so much an indicator, here we go. It's not so much an indicator to show you that it's available. It's more an indicator to show you like an alarm, like it's happening at this moment when you actually start riding. So why don't I put my helmet on and we'll go for it. Okay guys, hopefully this is a good angle for you to see. You're going to see me smashing on the front brake pretty often. So let's go ahead. We got it in turbo mode so we can get some power out of this thing. So go ahead and ride full blast. And I'll smash on the front brake right here. Wow. So you'll see in that small instance that the wheel stayed fairly straight. Now I'm going to turn the bike off. Let me get a little bit of speed. Utilize that motor after all. Let's see. I'll go ahead, take this little turn here. All right. Go ahead and get a little power. Turn the bike off, and therefore the ABS. All right, there we go. And smash on that front brake. So you saw the wheel turn just a little bit. Let's see if I can get some more momentum out of this guy. There we go. And then okay, you could hear it kind of eat into the gravel a little bit when I hit that front brake. Let's go for it one last time. A little more speed. Oh, okay. All right, let's go ahead and turn it back on. We'll do one more test. It feels really good, you know. All right, and here we go. There we go. It feels great. You know, you can brake. I mean, it's a little bit outside of training because I've trained myself to brake in a different way. So this is, oh yeah. And you can stay on target with something like this. You don't have to worry about skidding, sliding, all of that. Let's get, this is a little more loose. Try this. All right, so I hit a couple of rocks there going down. Here we go. I'll scare these poor guys. Howdy. Let's go up the hill. So you might be able to hear the bells from the cemetery right over the hill there. All right, let's get some good momentum going. I'll come down the hill and I'll show you that application. All right, there we go. Let's turn around, make sure we're good. Okay, here we go. We'll get up to speed. All right, we're going about 32 kilometers, 35 kilometers. Here we go on the front brake. that is like eerie, you know. I mean, it works, it's great, it's awesome. I think that this is going to be a big, you know, once this hits the market and gets some good adoption under it, I think this is going to be a great system for people to use. But by golly, it's so different from what you learn as a cyclist. As a cyclist, you learn not to do that sort of stuff. You learn that you gotta vary your braking power, you know, like the old cars. And this is like so different, so different. All right, so here we go. About 36 kilometers an hour, up to about 40 kilometers, and smash. And the little indicator came on. That is awesome. That is so great. All right, let's do one more, and I'll turn the bike off when I start going down the hill. Honestly, I'm a little intimidated. If I go over the handlebars, you guys are coming with me. I don't want to, but you'll see my braking vary. You know, I'm not gonna smash on that brake full gore again. I'm gonna give it a little bit. Let's take a look. All right, we're good. All right, here we go. We'll give it a little guts. All right, how fast are we going? Let's see, we'll get up to about 35. There we go. Okay, system off, ABS off. I'm leaning back over the back wheel, and here we go. Okay, so I don't know if that really translated on camera. Let's turn it back on. I don't know if that translated on camera because I had to I wasn't squeezing the brake nearly as hard as I normally do. Not nearly as much because I don't want to flip over, you know. It's a hard test to do. You know, no one wants to sign up to be a crash test dummy. But I gotta tell you, this is great. Let's turn it off again. Do another tiny one. All right, here we go. Oh. All right. Maybe you saw my body kind of shift. You know, my body shifts forward and I kind of put a little more pressure on my arms to push me back again. All right, let's go. Oh, yeah, that's with the system off again. You saw me like jolt forward when I smashed on the brakes. Okay, one last test. Let's go from pavement to gravel. That was one the guy asked me to do specifically. So let's go over closer to the event. It looks good. All right, we'll go closer to the event and we'll go from the pavement to this really nice gravel area. Let's go ahead. Ooh, you can really feel it kick in. All right, so that would have been really hard. That would be something that a human would have to regulate pretty well, because they would get into the pavement part, which is more predictable, and then they get into the gravel, and then the human would have to vary it. Okay. Oh man, that's amazing. I want to do this again. Let's get some more speed, and we'll go into the parking lot area. All right, boom, 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 baby. Let's go. Oh, that one's not so amazing as the earlier test. All right, we'll do it again. I'm not coming back to Germany to do this test again, and that's where all the bikes are that do this. So, all right, here we go. Excuse me. Incredible, absolutely incredible. These guys aren't scared. They probably see it all the time. Ooh, feels so nice. So nice. Let's go back over there. So this is a really good deal. I like this a lot. There are a lot of people getting into cycling at all because of electric bikes. Folks who have not ridden a bike in decades. And in a lot of those cases, they're not as skilled. I mean, naturally, you're not as skilled at something you haven't done in a long time. So they're not as skilled to, you know, adjust their braking and kind of learn all of those balance and technique and everything. So I think this product is a perfect fit for that kind of customer who's looking for an electric bike to kind of get out and see things, but then again hasn't done it in a very long time. This is a very approachable technology that we have here, and I'm really impressed. So unfortunately this is not out in America as of yet, but you guys can actually help out. If you want to, you can go to Bosch Ebike Systems. I think it's boschebike.us. Go to their contact page and say, hey, I want to see the ABS system in America. Or you can probably go to a local shop that carries Bosch products and say, please send word. And also, you can engage your local and higher up legislation, because there's actually a lot of blocks and a lot of regulatory things that Bosch has to go through to get this system here in Germany. They say there's something else like that in America. I don't know what it is because I don't work in the legislature, but if you can, engage your politicians to try to get this system like this out, because I think this would go a long way towards safety, which is a really important aspect of cycling, but also it's just new tech, because the more people that get into something like this, the better it's going to get, the more integrated it's going to become, the safer things are going to be. So please, if you can, speak up at every level that you can to try to get a system like this out in the United States of America, either to Bosch, local legislation, or to, you know, a dealer. Pop into a dealer and tell them, you know, the retail guys and everything, because they could certainly use their voice as well. So thanks for watching, guys. Ride safe.